suit and tie and get your hair cut way up high. Get yourself a lawyer, son. You're gonna need a real good one.
Every time I hear it, I sort of have an image in my mind of both Tex Perkins and David Whiting, like together on stage. You ever been on stage with Tex Perkins?
No, but I think if he was standing behind me, you wouldn't see him.
Well, you would. He's taller.
Okay.
He's taller.
Okay, good.
But he can't answer nearly as many questions as you can.
Oh, yeah, but he sounds better than me. Yep.
Well, it depends. If you've got a legal problem, you sound better. If you've got a question for David Whiting, 1300 222 774 is the phone number. You had one bit of homework from last time with Ali?
Jackie from Bulleen about P1 probationary drivers and who they could take to school. Now, Jackie said that she has been taking her son while he's got lessons and he has a sibling and a friend in the back seat. And the question is, I think it was two friends in the back seat, can that continue? The answer would be sibling okay, friends no.
Yes.
So the P1 driver can be driving only with the sibling and one peer person, and that is someone other than a sibling or a step-sibling. And if you want to take the two mates, then mum needs to be sitting in the front seat next to the driver, just like it was when he was on L's.
And P1 is 1 year?
1 year, yeah, right. Basically 1 year. Yeah, okay. Novice driver.
1300 222 774 is the phone number. Chris is in Fitzroy North with, I think, a refund issue. What happened, Chris?
Right. The long story is last year I was connecting on a flight to Montreal and the flight from Vancouver was cancelled by Air Canada.
Yes.
Due to weather conditions. It was quite late at night by this time, and they couldn't get me onto another flight until the next day. I was escorted to a help desk with an assurance that Air Canada would provide overnight accommodation. But all the hotels available to them were booked out. So I was told that they would reimburse me if I found my own hotel bed.
Can I ask, Chris, did you write to The Age? I read something like this in The Age on the weekend.
I did.
There you go.
He's eagle-eyed, isn't he?
Yeah. I have a very good short-term memory, Chris. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you buy your ticket in Canada or did you buy your ticket here?
I bought it here on a connecting flight on a Qantas ticket.
Yes.
And just narrow it down for us, Chris. I think, which refund are you trying to find out if you can get?
The Air Canada refund between Vancouver and...
No, the hotel refund.
Oh, the hotel refund. Yep. Yes.
So I applied for that on their online thing. 2 months passed and I got an email back from them saying, we're so sorry. We'd be delighted to pay you the full amount.
Yes. Please
send us your bank details, which I did. And I've never heard a thing since.
Chris, I think your problem is that you're relying upon a promise made by Air Canada service personnel at an airport in Vancouver. You're going to have to run it in whatever forum is available in Vancouver. There may be someone who registers and licenses airlines. There might be an ombudsman in Canada, and it might also be, I think, Air Canada is owned by the Canadian government. It might be appropriate to look at the ombudsman in Canada.
Right. But no place to lodge that appeal.
Not here, no. Right.
Chris, good luck. Let us know, by the way, how you do go. Shirley's in Melton. Shirley, what's your issue?
Oh, just a hypothetical, thanks, David. For my will, I've got a share portfolio and 3 kids, none of whom have any shares, and I don't know that they would know what to do with shares. What would be the usual thing to do?
Well, I'm assuming you're leaving an estate that says I'm dividing my estate equally between my 3 children.
That's right.
So then it's up to them whether they keep the shares or dispose of them. Uh-huh. You might include in your will a requirement that they obtain advice from a financial planner before disposing of any of the estate assets so that they can get some, if you like, some planning in place as to how they might manage whatever it is you leave them.
Yes, they're doing very well. I think it would be a shame for them to just sell them, but from the grave, I can't really direct what they do, can I?
Well, you can, but it just seems to me the answer is you could give them to someone else to dole out the income, but that strikes me as being wrong on lots of levels, because you need to look at the individual circumstances of each of them and say, what would be the best for them to get from my estate? And to be honest, it might not be shares, it might be the proceeds of the shares. I think you'll get what you want by requesting that they obtain financial planning advice before liquidating any of the estate assets.
Good luck, Shirley. Thank you for calling as well. Greg is in Dented Head with a question for David Whiting. What is it, Greg?
Oh, thanks, Raph. David, I've got a family friend who lives in a home with her mother. Both names are on title. She suffers from dementia. She's got a pokey addiction. The family give her money, but she's threatening to go to the bank to borrow against the home. And
Yes.
I suggested taking a caveat, but what would you recommend to stop her from dealing with the bank?
How bad is the dementia?
Oh, she's got medical documents indicating that she can't make judgment for herself.
Well, why would you not, and I know this sounds, some people will hate me for this, why would you not apply for an administration order for her? And the requirements for an administration order are that you are unable to make appropriate, so you've got an impairment and she's got an impairment. As a result of the impairment, she's not able to make decisions and she needs assistance to make the decisions. So if you got your mother if you got an administration order for your mum, you would take the administration order to the bank and your mum would then lose the right to borrow money from the bank.
Right.
Because she wouldn't have the capacity to borrow. Now, I look after a couple of people on administration orders, and what I do is I give them a key card with $1 limit on it, which I top up, so that they've always got available funds. They just don't have access to what might be considerable funds. So talk to your mum's doctor and see whether he would support the making of an administration order, and that would protect her from herself.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Greg. 1300 222 774 is the phone number. Mark's calling from Alphington with, I don't know if it's an airline learning or like an experience. What do you want to mention, Mark?
Thanks, guys. Love your show. I think you'll like this one. This is a personal best for me. One flight cancellation. This is a trip that was booked all through Qantas Direct on their website. One flight cancellation where we were in Buenos Aires led to a 12-day delay to get home.
Yep.
Qantas abandoned us in Buenos Aires. They did nothing to help us.
Sorry,
we ended up getting...
Mark.
Yes, David.
Qantas doesn't fly to Buenos Aires.
Qantas
Does it
flew
code
us.
share?
It was a code.
Did you
David,
get a ticket? They use other carriers, do they not?
They use their alliance partners.
Yes, but it's the alliance partner who failed.
Not necessarily, David, if I can
Okay.
explain. The flight from Buenos Aires went to Santiago in Chile, where we were supposed to get a Qantas connecting flight via Auckland back to Melbourne. Now, obviously, at that time, Auckland Airport was flooded, which we totally understand. But Qantas did absolutely nothing to try to get us home, despite at least 50 communications to and fro with them.
So where are you
David,
at the moment, Mark?
Oh, I'm lucky I got home after 12 days.
Okay.
But what about the cost? Who's picking up the cost?
Well, $6,000 in fares, aborted flights, etc., because there was more than one cancellation. But Qantas have been very generous to me and offered me 3,000 frequent flyer points, which is probably half a tea towel.
Yes. Mark, I would be
yeah.
going, unfortunately, because Qantas is a Sydney company, you
Yes.
need to bring your claim in the Magistrates Court.
Magistrates Court.
Well, what happened was there was a Court of Appeal decision last year or the year before that said that because VCAT is not a court, you can't bring proceedings against a resident of another state. It VCAT. So if you have a cross-border dispute, so I've got, for example, an intervention order application at the moment against a person who lives over the border from Swan Hill. So that would be magistrates' court anyway. But you get the idea. Is that it's now I've got a consumer dispute against someone who lives in Albury.
Is it worthwhile?
Well, you get to, I mean, I come along and say the threshold for being it worthwhile goes up a little when you're in the magistrates' court because of the cost issue. So that's what I would be doing if I was Mark. But to be fair to Qantas, they issued the ticket on someone else and knowing someone else was flying. But I do understand the frustration. My daughter caught a Qantas flight to a Jetstar flight Qantas flight to Singapore.
Yep.
And the plane was 9 hours late, which meant that she lost her connecting flight. And their terms of sale said that they would pay her night's accommodation. They just put them all in a lounge. And anyway, that's all right. That's my whinge.
You're not alone there, Mark, but thank you. That sounds like a significant inconvenience. Roger's in Shoreham. Roger, what's your issue?
Oh, yeah, good morning, David. Look, we recently purchased a new car, and about a week after purchasing the car, all the electronics went out on it. Had it back to the dealer. They said that it was just needed to be reprogrammed, so it was reprogrammed. Again, it went out. Everything failed. We've since had the car back 3 times.
In what time period, Roger?
In about 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
And how many Ks have you driven in that long?
About 3,000.
Okay. It strikes me, what you're describing to me is a lemon. If it's not holding the what it needs to hold the data, I would be going to VCAT and say, I want my car replaced.
Right. Perfect.
Right.
That's exactly. Because I've asked them a number of times. They told me that it was actually the control panel that was gone.
Yes. So replace the control panel.
Well, they won't do it. The company won't. The owners. The car company won't do it. The
manufacturer won't do it. No.
No. And I suspect if it was not under warranty, they would. But yeah. So okay. So VCAT.
Sorry, it's new, isn't it? Under warranty?
Oh yeah, it's a brand new car.
Yeah. Right. So surely the dealer should replace it and make it good, no?
Well, I think it will be an expensive part that they want the manufacturer to carry the cost for. So the dealer doesn't want to pay.
Yeah, the dealer, it costs about $9,000.
Right.
Yeah, I can understand why they don't want to replace it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would, my view would be 3 total fails in 3 weeks. I don't want the car.
Right. Okay.
Good luck, Roger.
Thank you very much.
1300 222 774 is the phone number that Tor has called from Fitzroy North. What do you want to mention, Tor?
Good morning. I've recently changed my name legally through birth test marriages. Minor changes. Now I've got a new birth certificate and a passport and a driver's license. I've got to go through all that. Now I have 2 legal documents. One is a certificate of title, and the other one is my will.
Yes.
Now, on the birth certificate, it does have my old name on there. It has my new name and then previously was known as so-and-so. Yep. What will I need to do? Will I just do nothing because they will be able to find that out?
Well,
or will I have to just...
My guess is that the executor you've chosen in your will knows who you are, both before and after the name change.
He certainly does.
Then the answer would be there will be no difficulty in the probate application, no difficulty in the Registrar of Titles application.
Okay, so just leave it as is and just assume that it should all be right?
If you're going to update your will, do the name change, and the same with it. If you're going to sell, then do the same with the title. But provided you've got a linking document, and that's your new birth certificate that recites your old birth name, I don't think you need to do anything.
Good luck, Tor. Thank you for calling. Sam is in Geelong with a query about seatbelts, I think. What is it, Sam?
G'day, Raf and David. Thanks for taking the call. Just a quick one, I hope. I was pulled over by the police last week. I'll just pull over now so I don't get done again. I've got a shingles rash and I was wearing my seatbelt, the sash part under my arm. I was clipped in. Police said I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Just wondering your opinion, David. Is it even worth asking for a review or is it just cut and dried? I've just got to pay it.
There is actually a provision in the seatbelt laws that allows you to apply for an exemption Good luck in getting it, but you're able to apply. So my view is that you were not wearing the seatbelt appropriately. The seatbelt law wins.
Yes, no worries. Thank you for that. Just wanted to double check.
Okay.
Good luck, Sam. Thank you for calling.
Bad news today. Yes.
Isn't your life full of people's bad news? Isn't that what lawyers deal with?
My line is that you only need a lawyer for failure. Okay, to accommodate failure.
Well, it's like the paramedics, right? They deal with everyone on their worst day.
Yes. Where failure could be, I haven't made enough money, and it could be all sorts of things.
Oh, you deal with failure. Gosh, that's heavy. That's a little sad. And David's such an optimistic person. Jennifer is in Hampton. Jennifer, what did you want to ask?
Oh, hi, guys. Look, David, you may not be able to answer this today. It might be a homework thing, but my son's a tradie, and his work did a session for all the tradies with their work vehicles the other day about the new cameras that are looking at phones in cars.
Yes.
And one of the things they said, which I think could affect a lot of people, is that it's no longer legal to have your phone sitting on the wireless charge pad in your car, or indeed connected to your Apple CarPlay in your car. The only way that it is legal is if it is in a cradle.
Yeah, it's got to be in a. I think the phrase is a legally recognised, or it's got to be very clearly in a cradle.
It's got to be a commercial cradle, not one you make yourself, regardless of how good you are.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about, though, that like all the Toyotas, for example, have a wireless charge pad just in the dash.
Yeah, but I don't think you can touch your phone if it's on that. I think that's right. I think it's got to be in a cradle. I think that is what they've decided.
It's not about touching it, Raf, because you're not touching it. It's just sitting in the wireless charge pad. And they were told that even if it's sitting in there...
that it can't sit in there.
Yes, correct. And can't be... So you sit it in there
next week, Jennifer.
to attach to your Apple CarPlay. Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
David.
We'll find out.
Okay.
I'll listen next week.
Okay.
Thanks
I
so
hope
much.
you listen every week, Jennifer, but next week we'll do it. Yeah.
He's very good. He's told you. He's been doing it for 40 years. He knows what he's doing. 1300 222 774. Coming up in the chat room, by the way, someone who was born in Papua New Guinea had to leave home. Home was destroyed by a volcano in Papua New Guinea. Lives in New Zealand, Australian Idol. A whole amazing rediscovery of her roots in PNG and now performing with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. You'll hear that coming up in about 10 minutes or so. But David Whiting is taking your calls. He's a Melbourne solicitor, apparently. Richard's in Eastern Kilda. I just love that title. Richard, what's your issue?
Sorry, just taking off hand. About 20 months ago, I got knocked off my Vespa by a truck. Uninsured, so I went to, got legal advice. They did some work for me, said all the costs should be picked up by the truck company.
Yes.
Truck company's gone bankrupt, so I've now got a bill. Am I liable for it, or...?
Depends on what the cost agreement says.
There wasn't any form of cost. Like, they didn't send me any paperwork saying what the costs would be.
Well, how much are they charging you, Richard?
$500 for their services, and it's about $1,000 all up, including what they did.
There's a requirement. I suppose your argument might be that it was. It depends on how you measure a win. See, lots of people say no win, no fee, but they don't quite mean that. And they also mean that they're going to be very selective about the people they offer the no win, no fee to. So you need to come along and make up your mind whether it was going to be on the basis that you would never have to pay. So look at your emails, look at your changes of correspondence, remember your conversations, and if it was truly a no win, no fee, then the question you need to ask is, if I get a judgment against a company that's gone broke, is that a win, or do I measure the win by getting the money? So I would be suggesting you could run a dispute at that level with the Legal Services Commissioner.
Yeah.
So that's where I would start the argument. And at that kind of level, the lawyer's not going to be making any money chasing you, Richard. So it might be that they will be more amenable to some kind of deal, or even it might be more inclined to walk away because they in fact never wrote to you in relation to your cost liability.
Not a problem. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Richard.
There you go, Richard. Good luck with that consideration as well. Jennifer is in Bacchus Marsh. What did you want to ask about, Jennifer?
Yeah, hi. Morning, David. I have a question where I paid somebody a deposit to do some work, and this person never returned to do the work. So they blocked me on all communication channels. So I'm wondering, is there any avenue I can get back my refund I'd paid earlier?
Well, you can go to VCAT for an order that they refund on the basis they've failed to do the work. But for all of these things, Jennifer, that's only half the deal. Are they going to be able to pay you back if you find them, is the question. So
Okay.
it's because we now have this, as privacy becomes more and more important, if you have a registered business name, ASIC doesn't have your registered address available to consumers. So I always get a bit twitchy. If it's an individual owns a business name, then the answer would be, sorry, can't have the address. If a company owns the business name, you do. So if you decided you're going to run a business from home, I could search the business name and would get you as the owner, but I would have no idea where I was to serve process. I mean, not that you'd ever get process served against you, but you know the.
It looks like it's an individual who is registered as.
And how much are we talking about, Jennifer?
Yeah, about 1,000.
I would go for the cost of the VCAT application, I would run the application, but do it yourself.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good luck, Jennifer. And I think Nancy in Watsonia, you might be the last one. We'll see how we go. Nancy, what's your query?
Oh, hello. Thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, everyone can.
Yes. Okay. Look, I don't know where to start, but can you claim negligence of a real estate agent for not doing regular inspections of your rental?
I had this question a little while ago, not on the radio, but at the office, and it was in circumstances where there was a new tenant, and the suggestion was that you'd check on the tenant within a few months of starting, and then move to inspections that were further and further apart. What you need to do, Nancy, is prove that was in essence the property manager's obligation.
This is just slightly different. The tenant has passed away.
Yes.
And the house is it's just terrible. It's going to cost $5,000 just to empty out the rubbish.
Yes.
And I've spent money on the garden already, $1,200. I don't know what to do. It's really, really bad. The house is in really bad.
So your argument
condition
against the property manager is that the property was not inspected, and had you known 2 or 3 years before, you would have been able to do something about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we would have, yeah, of course. It's
Yeah,
just terrible.
I'm not sure how I would quantify your claim against the property manager, because if the damage was, if it was as bad as you say it was a year into the tenancy, that you might, and it didn't get any worse. I suppose, though, you've then, if the tenant's alive, you've got someone to have an argument with about tidying it up.
But she doesn't have a live tenant. Who would she take that complaint to?
It's really a professional standards complaint against the
real estate agent.
The real estate agent, but you'd run it at VCAT.
Okay. Oh, it's so bad, and I don't know where to start. I mean, we might even have to demolish it. It's really bad.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, Nancy. I'm aware of a few cases like that. Good luck, Nancy. Good luck. David's going to take some homework. Those new cameras, precisely what the rules will be around your phone and whether or not you can leave one on the wireless charger. Thanks so much, David.